Joining with me is Mr. Upendra Singh, Secretary, Union Textile Ministry, and he'll talk about the various schemes, whether it be PLI scheme or the export incentive scheme, and how these schemes are really helping the sector to take a leap, to take a jump forward. Sir, thanks a lot for joining. First question, would like to understand that you have given an extension of 2 weeks to the PLI scheme. So far, what is the response and how far you are confident that whatever the quantum that has been allocated for the PLI scheme to this sector, that will be quite adequate enough?
See, as you understand, the PLI scheme in textile sector is primarily for man-made fiber and technical textile. There are reasons for it because traditionally Indian textile has been basically a cotton-based textiles.
Exactly, sir.
Now, if we want a larger share in the world trade, we will have to concentrate also on man-made fiber and technical textile, because while in India we have about 70% textile industry is based on cotton or natural fiber, only 30% is based on man-made fiber. On the contrary, the world over it is about 70% man-made fiber and only 30% natural based fiber. And it is expected that in few years time they may become 80-20. So, if we want to remain very relevant in the world trade, then we have to increase our share in man-made fiber and technical textile.
Exactly.
Technical textile is also a very emerging sector. There is not only a scope for import substitution, export, as well as a number of other applications where a technical textile can replace other materials. So, for that, as you are aware, the already technical textile mission was launched, under which we are taking a lot of R&D work to get new materials and new technologies. And at the same time, this PLI scheme would basically promote a production of a man-made fiber and technical textile. Now, after the cabinet approved, we have notified the scheme, and thereafter we issued guidelines. And thereafter we had initially, of course, most of the PLI 2 months time was given, but we had initially given only a 1 month time. But then because of the Omicron surge came, most of the companies, many of the companies in fact requested us that we need little more time to formulate our scheme, because they were working with a very bare staff in their offices. Okay. So, right now we have extended it up to 14th February. And we have got a good response. So far, about 72 companies have already registered. And along with that, they have to make a lot of projections actually. What would be their initial investment, whether they would be in part 1 of the scheme or part 2 of the scheme.
Okay.
As you know, part 1 of the scheme is for those who minimum investment would be 300 crore and turnover of 600 crore in the beginning. And then the other one will have either 100 crore minimum investment and 200 crore turnover. Okay. So, whether they will be in part 1, part 2, and then they have to project over a period of 5 years that initial investment, whatever minimum required, they will do. But since they have to grow by 25% every year, how much investment they would be making, what would be their expected turnover in the first performance year and subsequent 5 years. So, and then supporting data, they have to upload actually. So, about 46 companies have already kind of submitted their application, even though these are not a final submission. But we hope, right now it's very difficult to say whether this amount would become adequate or not, but that would be known only after the last date for submission of application is over. But we are confident that we would be able to fully utilize the amount.
Another important issue is regarding the cotton prices stabilization. Okay, so a lot of it that has been discussed, that speculations were made that the import duty that would be reduced, or it would even brought down to even 0%. But now going ahead, we have not seen any change in the import duty, any major announcement that we have not seen. So, how you would or the government would like to go ahead in this direction to stabilize the cotton prices and then benefiting the farmers as well as the industry?
See, first of all, the import of cotton is not something which is very important for India, in the sense that India is basically a cotton surplus country. We are the largest producer of cotton, and we have been the largest exporter of cotton, or the second largest exporter of cotton we have been. So I don't think import of cotton is such an important element In fact, primarily there should be no import, but for something called a ELS cotton,
Okay.
extra long staple cotton, which is not grown adequately in India, but which is required for certain premium kind of a textile product. So that import is important. Otherwise, we grow enough cotton to meet our requirement. Now, as you are aware that there are a lot of stakeholders as far as the entire textile value chain is concerned, and it starts with the farmers. So you have in cotton, you have farmers who grow the cotton, then you have ginners and bellers, then you have spinning industry, then you have a weaving industry, then you have processing industry, and finally garmenting industry.
Exactly.
Now, a higher cotton prices, first of all, one should be very clear that it is not that the cotton is only, cotton prices are only higher. Even in my sector or our ministry, for example, another product is jute. Jute prices are also pretty high.
Exactly.
You talk about raw silk prices are also high. So, right now all commodity prices are high.
Okay.
But then I see it from a different point of view. The cotton production in the country, acreage and production has not been increasing for quite a few years. Productivity has not been increasing. Now, a farmer will grow whatever is most kind of a profitable.
Exactly.
For him. It is expected that the kind of prices farmers are getting this year, some people estimate that next year the acreage under cotton would increase by 20%, and that would be something very good for the entire sector, because now we have come to a situation where we used to have a lot of surplus earlier cotton. Nowadays almost the way spinning industry is adding its capacity, almost consumption would be approximately same as production. So unless we increase production, going ahead, we may become a deficient country. So one is that it's good that farmers are getting good price of it, and usually spinning industry perhaps is doing very well after a long gap actually.
Okay.
Yes, it does affect finally prices of the garments. Whether the market is in a position to absorb that price in the price increase in the garments, but then the price of a garment depends on many other factors actually. It is not only that it is depends on a cotton price or so by and large the price is passed on. Yes, there are some problems in where you have made a long term contract for exports and all, and in the meantime prices of a cotton yarn has increased. So some of the exporters are facing problem on that ground. So what we are now, of course, we keep discussing, we are engaged with the industry from time to time to see that nobody makes a kind of a windfall profit at the cost of some other stakeholder. So we are always in dialogue, whether it's a cotton traders or whether it is
industry body
or industry bodies, either spinning or weaving or garmenting. So we are in touch with them, and we are time to time we mull over different kind of alternatives. And one thing right now we are thinking is basically to have a separate code, HSN code for ELS cotton, so that we could try to allow import of ELS cotton, which will not affect the farmers.
By when we can expect sort of a decision in this regard?
See, right now, one is that there is a procedure whereby a new code is done, HSN code is done. So right now it will become very difficult, and then I am saying this is one of the alternatives we are thinking. There could be some other alternatives also, as and when it feels, because government by and large believes that market forces should take care of itself, in the sense that sometimes in the past what we have done is, while we intervened in some sector, it has a very bad impact on another sector actually.
Okay.
In the sense that in the past, in 2010-11 kind of, when the cotton export on cotton ban on cotton export was done, then we had a problem, and some of the kind of problems which a spinning industry faced, they were not able to come out for quite a few years actually. So we would not like that so that we have to see the interest of the entire value chain and not only one segment.
Okay. So one of the scheme, the MITRA scheme, which has generated a lot of interest from the states. So you are in dialogues with the states for the same. So far, how many states have submitted their proposal for the National Textile Park, and what is the current status you want to share?
See, as you are aware, the PM MITRA scheme is very important for us. One is that it will take care of the fragmentation part of textile industry, and the other is it will bring a size and scale. It should also seek a lot of investment, including foreign direct investment. Now, there were we had got a letter from as many as 10 states even prior to the scheme was approved and notified that they would be interested in setting up a textile park. Now, one basic requirement for any state to be eligible is that the state has to make 1,000 acres of contiguous encumbrance free land available.
Okay.
So after the cabinet approved it, we notified the scheme and then we have issued the guidelines, and we have asked the state governments to submit proposals along with the supporting documents.
Okay.
So since the selection would be on the basis of a challenge method, and so there has to be certain criteria actually. So we have fixed up a number of criteria which could include, let's say, how connectivity or the state's policy or the raw material availability or a different kind of labor laws and different kind of criteria have been notified, and based on that state government has been asked to submit in the first instance what is called a preliminary project report.
Okay.
So, preliminary project report has right now been, we have given time to them up to 15th of March, because this will require a lot of groundwork to be done, and at the same time some of the states are also in the midst of going to have elections actually. So, their administrative machinery to a very large extent engaged there also. So, we have, that's why we have given time up to 15th of March. So far we have received a preliminary project report for one state well in advance, even though the deadline is up to 15th of March.
Andhra Pradesh you mentioned.
Yeah.
So one last question would like to understand regarding the FTAs. A lot has been said from the top. The central government has made comments that with the countries like Canada or even Australia, the FTAs are almost at the final stage. So what's the final take you want to share in this regard?
See, FTA is important in textiles because some of our competitors like Bangladesh, Vietnam, Pakistan, they have the advantage of duty advantage in countries like UK or EU. So EU of course will take time because this is a little more complex, even though the dialogue there also has started.
Okay.
But some of the others like UK or UAE and GCC and Canada and Australia, they have progressed well actually, and we either expect the full-fledged FTA or at least the early harvest agreement to be in position soon, so that textile sector could be benefited and we get a level playing field in those countries, because wherever there is a level playing field like USA, we are doing pretty well.
Thanks a lot, sir, for talking to us. Thanks a lot.